back. It was a crazy week at the Super Bowl. I'm glad you said that people enjoyed the content that I was able to send back. I was hoping to get a couple other interviews that were tough to get, including Coach Prime.
Yeah.
I saw someone message like, "Why weren't you guys aggressive and try to get Coach Prime for an interview?" I'm like, bro, if you had any idea how hard I tried to get Coach Prime for an interview, then you wouldn't say that. But didn't work out. He was a busy guy. He obviously came in with a schedule, and I was, trying to piggyback off of that. But maybe got some groundwork laid for a future interview with Coach Prime. So we'll see if that happens. But it was a hell of a week out there. And I have to admit, Jake, once you get in that bubble, like that's all you know.
Yeah.
So I didn't hear anything what was going on last week. I wasn't able to catch the show. I heard the show with Montana was great. But I feel very out of the loop with the Buffs for the first time since Coach Prime was hired.
Well, don't worry. We'll get you all caught up, and we'll get you all square and right again. But first, we do have some news to talk about. The Pac-12, we talked a lot about them last week, Ryan, and doesn't seem like we're in a great place right now.
Okay.
In terms of realignment and the media deal. The media deal drama has been just all over the place. So much so the Pac-12 had to put out a statement today. They said, the 10 Pac-12 universities look forward to consummating successful media right deals with the S in parentheses in the very near future. Based upon positive conversations with multiple potential media rights partners over the past weeks, we remain highly confident in our future growth and success as a conference and united in our commitment to one another.
Do you know what this is in response to, like, directly?
No.
So basically, just everyone's talking about how the Pac-12 is a joke to the point where they said, all right, we got to say something.
It seems that way, yeah. It's, you had the SMU stuff last week. That was on Wednesday. George Kolovkov, the Pac-12 commissioner, went to SMU, tried to keep it hush-hush, was then seen at the basketball game and photographed.
What kind of hush-hush appearance is that?
I don't know. So that's what they tried to do. The SDSU thing, the interest has been pretty mutual, it sounds like.
Okay.
But this media rights deal thing seems like they're really struggling. The quote that we got last week was that from George Kolovkov. He said,
I'm putting all my trust in you that's how you say that name.
I think that's how you say it. He said it's tough to, something along the lines of, it's tough to sell your house when the neighbor next to you like sells it for lesser value. Talking about the Big 12 and how they kind of took a little cut in their media rights deal to get in front of this all and get a deal 2 years ahead of their scheduled.
I was going to say it's tough to sell your house when all of your neighbors are trying to leave the neighborhood.
Yeah, that too. So,
which is obviously USC and UCLA. At the same time, though, you have this Coach Prime card.
Mm-hmm.
That should be just such an elite card. I mean, I would literally, if I was George K., be going out showing, like, every person. Like, if you make a YouTube video right now and put Coach Prime in the headline, like, you're doing numbers.
Yep.
And that's only a small sample. Obviously, that's not your entire case, but you're just saying, like, everyone's interested in this. Look at, Game Day wants Coach Prime. Everyone wants Coach Prime. You have, like, every media group should be interested in making a deal happen with the Pac-12, not just because it's the Pac-12 and it's one of, the bigger conferences, one of the Power Five, but because you have this, for lack of a better term, trump card in Coach Prime, meaning you play that Coach Prime card, no one else has that. Mm-hmm. Like, even Alabama is not as interesting as Colorado is right now. Just because Alabama's Alabama, they're always going to be great. They're going to be competing for national championships. That's not all that interesting compared to what Colorado has done with Coach Prime and how polarizing he is for God knows what reason. He shouldn't really be polarizing at all.
Yeah.
But people are interested. You've got people rooting for him. You've got people rooting against him. You've got everyone. And I mean everyone. Every sports fan who even pays even the slightest bit of attention to college football is interested in what's going on with Coach Prime. That should be doing work for you in these negotiations.
Should be. So I guess this is actually in response to what we learned Thursday or Friday when the Big 12 and OU and Texas came to an agreement that it was going to allow them to leave for the SEC a little bit earlier, 1 year earlier.
Okay.
So that means 24, I believe, is their last year in the Big 12. Or it might be, well, USC and UCLA's last year is this year in the Pac-12. But Texas and OU, I think, have to go through 24.
Okay.
I think.
What does that have to do with us?
Just that the Pac-12 is the last conference to not have a media rights deal after this year.
Oh, okay.
I mean, kind of in shambles now. Your two biggest brands are leaving, and we keep on hearing about that group of 4 teams that the Big 12 is targeting from the Pac-12, the Arizona schools, Colorado, and Utah.
Yep.
So I think the Pac-12 is, I mean, it's a weird statement to put out on a Monday.
It is.
They're in trouble is what I got from that
Do you think
that statement.
Something could happen with Colorado soon?
Truly, I don't know. But to your point, they have to be the most valuable brand at this point.
They are. And that's what I was going to say. Like, there's no way there's more people interested in UCLA than Colorado right now. Just no way.
Oh, yeah.
And I think maybe that hasn't been fully grasped yet because UCLA is obviously a massive national brand. They've got fans all over the country. But it's not about like alumni or fans at this point. We've seen it firsthand on this show. You know, like we have some great alumni and Boulder natives and, you know, people that have been following the program forever in the comments every day. We also have hundreds, thousands of people in the comments every single day who are just interested in Coach Prime and love Coach Prime. Mm-hmm. And I think that's something that needs to be understood here. Like the brand of Colorado no longer really has all that much to do with Colorado. Mm-hmm. Coach Prime is helping build the brand of Colorado, but Coach Prime is the brand now.
Yep.
And that's worth a lot. Now, maybe these media rights deals are, you know, so long that they're saying, okay, well, we can't put all our eggs in the Coach Prime basket. We don't know how long he's going to be in the Pac-12. Mm-hmm. But with the way that college football is moving, you really should be looking at things in a 3-year window,
right?
In my opinion. And I'm confident that Coach Prime will be here for 3 years.
I think so too. So when Andre and I talked about this last week about potentially leaving for the Big 12, my take was if you're Colorado, if you're Rick George, you should stay in the Pac-12. I mean, after this year, it's kind of who knows, but have a good year this year and potentially hope you can get that Big 10 invite because I don't think going to the Big 12 does anything. I mean, they don't have Texas, they don't have OU. I mean, you'd have to go in with the Arizona schools in Utah. I mean, it doesn't seem like Colorado's just going to get a sole invite. They want that pack of 4 teams. But if your ultimate goal is to get to the Big 10, how does going to the Big 12 help you in the short term or long term?
It's a good point, and I don't know how these deals work. Like, is it like the NBA where you can't trade someone right after you got them? You know, like once you realign, are you locked in for a certain amount of time? The thing is, like, you have to get off the sinking ship, right?
Yep.
So if the Pac-12 is going down, you don't want to be the last one standing there as the boat capsizes.
Right.
And if the Big 12 boat's right next to you and the Big 10 boat is a mile away, you're jumping for the Big 12 boat, right? Because then you don't have to swim for your life. And that might be the case here. That being said, if I'm Rick George, want to know, like, is the Pac-12 going to exist? Because if it is, I think there are advantages to being in the Pac-12.
Sure.
One of them, it goes back to Joel Klatt's take about Coach Prime having Colorado competing for a national championship or for the playoff within 2 years. The reason being, UCLA and USC are out. You are going to be competing to win the Pac-12 conference. At least you should be, considering the talent that you're bringing in here. And if you do that, you're going to get your auto bid into the 8-team or 12-team playoff. Is it 8 or 12?
I think
12,
we're going
right?
to 12, yeah.
You're getting a bid if you win the Pac-12. So if the Pac-12's around for 2 years, then you might be getting into the college football playoff next season if things go according to plan. And then you're going to rake in the cash because you literally just get money just for making it. And your brand is going to be elevated immensely. And hopefully Coach Prime can be the guy who leads you into the Big 10 because it's going to Big 10 and SEC. And how about this for a brightest timeline? You make it to the Big 10, Jake, why would Coach Prime leave?
Oh, yeah.
Like, you're competing for national championships. You're in one of the 2 conferences.
Yep.
You might be able to hold on to Coach Prime for God knows how long.
Right. I need to send you this article that came out last week from The Athletic because it kind of broke down a lot of what we were talking about. And also SMU and SDSU, because it seems like that's really what we're moving towards. If the commissioners visiting SMU already took the tour of SDSU, I mean, seems like they're going to be the newest members of the Pac-12 sooner, if not later.
And in the comments, D says, remember, all team sports have to shift conferences. It may not be good for the other teams at the school.
Right.
Well, it's not up to them.
Yep.
It's just not. At almost every school in the country, football drives the profits that pays for the entire rest of the athletic department. You have a few schools where basketball is driving rev, and you have even fewer schools where other teams are even breaking. Not even fewer. You have a few more schools who are even breaking even in one other sport.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, almost every sport loses money. Football makes money.
Yep. Makes a lot of money.
Makes a lot of money. And so football pays for the entire rest of the athletic department. So, yeah, it's true. The Pac-12 is the conference of champions, not because of football.
Right.
Because it's the best for almost every other sport, especially the Olympic sports. You know, cross country is a place where Colorado has dominated in the Pac-12 and gotten even better in the Pac-12. Sure, it would be better for them to stay. Unfortunately, that just has no bearing in the conversation.
So you think staying in the Pac-12 then? Or do you think, would you try and jump for the Big 12 after this year?
I'm going to throw it back on you. Big 12 comes today.
Okay.
It says we want you. What's your answer?
Has to be with the Arizonas and Utah.
Okay. Arizona's and Utah are going too.
Let's go.
Okay. I think that's the case. Is you use the term sinking ship. I don't think we used it in the headline, but I think that's what we're on.
Yeah.
And the thing is, it's kind of what's the old saying, like something along the lines of like there's always a fool in the room, and if you don't know who it is, it's you. And that's kind of the thing here. Is it's like, okay, so you can hold on to this hope of the Pac-12 surviving.
Right.
And what might happen is, okay, they say, okay, Colorado's not going, so we'll get the Arizona schools, Utah, and Oregon State, or whatever it may be, and then you're in big trouble. So you'd rather be first than last. And to be honest, this is actually what happened with Colorado coming to the Pac-12 in the first place.
Yeah.
Is there was a chance it was going to the Pac-16, and it was going to be the Texas schools in Colorado, and all in like Colorado and Nebraska both looked around and they were like, okay, well, we don't want to be left here, especially if the Texas schools go in a dying conference. And so they made the move. You can debate forever on whether it was the right move for Colorado to make, but what you have to do is make sure that you're not now calling up Conference USA because the Big 12's off the table for you, and you want to make sure that you stay relevant because guess what? The Pac-12 now has 6 teams in it.
Right. We'll see. It's been a hell of a saga, and we're not even close to being over.
Yeah.
It does feel like the Pac-12 is kind of dying in front of us right now, though.
That's so sad. I don't know how to explain it. I like the vibe of the Pac-12 conference.
Yeah.
I like the schools. I like the brand of football.
Pac-12 after dark.
Pac-12 after dark. The Pac-12 is fun for me. And I don't think the Big 12 has that for going for them.
Yep. We'll see. Before we catch you up on everything else, shout out to our friends at Shady Rays. Did you get a lot of Shady Rays time out in Phoenix?
Oh, yeah. Actually, not really. But I wore my Shady Rays from the car to Radio Row, Podcast Row, as I was calling it.
Yep.
And then was in there until the sun went down.
Let's go. I've been loving my Shady Rays. I wear them all the time. Shady Rays is an independent sunglasses company who offers a world-class product. Right now, exclusively for our listeners, Shady Rays is giving out their best deal of the season. Go to shadyrays.com and use code DNVR or visit them in store at the Park Meadows Mall for 50% off 2 or more pairs of polarized sunglasses. Try for yourself the shades rated 5 stars by over 200,000 people. And then also shout out to Bacchus & Schenker. Bacchus & Schenker have won over $1 billion for their clients in the state of Colorado. Best part about them, no fees to speak with them about your case, no fees when they work on your case, and no fees unless they win money for you. They help with all kinds of injury cases where you weren't at fault, car accidents, pedestrians, ride share, trucks. They can even help if you're injured at work. Call them at 222-2222 to find out if you have a case for free. Bacchus and Shanker wins. All right, Ryan, let's get you caught up.
Let's do it. So what's the plan here? You're going to just tell me bits, and I give my immediate reaction?
Yep.
All right, let's do it.
Juwan Johnson, do we even want to touch on? We already kind of talked about it, but the commitment came through last weekend. You were gone after that. So
Fire.
Love it.
Super excited. Some people got mad at me for pointing out the Arch Manning game.
Yeah.
Because they're like, was Arch Manning playing a defense against Juwan Johnson? And I was like, that's not the point.
Yep.
The point was really 400 yards and 6 touchdowns in 26 minutes of football time.
Yep.
Insane. I'm just so interested to see how he factors in.
Mm-hmm.
I know everyone says DB.
Yep.
I just think Coach Prime doesn't play by those rules is what came to my mind. It's not really what I mean, but
right.
Like just because 24/7 says he's a DB,
yeah,
I don't think means that Coach Prime is set on him being a DB.
I think a good way to put it is Coach Prime is a lot more open-minded when it comes to where these players want to play and what they want to, what position particularly.
And what, not even necessarily where they want to play, where they should be playing.
Right, right.
Because Coach Prime might bring him in and say, dude, you're a good DB. You could be a great X.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And I'm interested to see what that ends up being.
So we'll see. Still a year away.
Getting a top player out of the state of Louisiana is no small feat. And I wish maybe the stat was wrong, and that's why I can't find it anymore. But the stat about top 10 players in the state of Louisiana, or top 5 players in the state of Louisiana staying in the South for, I believe, like a decade.
Yeah. No, I think we may not have it exactly right, but there's something there for sure. All right. Next topic, Sean Lewis. Have you heard about this at all?
You told me a little bit before, and I haven't had time to do my own legwork on this, and it's really giving me anxiety.
All right, here we go. So Football Scoop last Tuesday had a whole article about Notre Dame's offensive coordinator, and deep within it, they said, per sources, the Fighting Irish's candidate pool at the collegiate level has seen the school vetting Utah's Andy Ludwig, Washington's Ryan Grubb.
Take from Utah, please.
Yes. Toledo's Jason Candle. And then it says Colorado's Sean Lewis and at least one other high-level Power 5 offensive coordinator.
I swear to God, bro. I already hate Notre Dame. I will never forgive them for this. I got to say, that's my first thought is fuck you, Notre Dame. My second thought on this is there's no way, right?
Right.
There's no way that Sean Lewis left his head coaching gig to come be Coach Prime and Shedeur Sanders, which I think is a very important part of this, offensive coordinator, just to leave to go to Notre Dame.
That was my take.
Doesn't make sense to me.
Yep. Just doesn't make sense. The comments have been lit ablaze with this, so they are very concerned. So
I mean, how could we not be concerned of everything that happened this offseason?
Right.
Coach Prime being the coach is number one. And I think Sean Lewis being the offensive coordinator might be number two. Obviously, Travis and Shedeur and all that is paramount. But when I watched that Sean Lewis film, I was like, oh, my God, we are getting the offense of the future at Colorado.
Lawrence says Ludwig is the leading candidate, according to ESPN.
Let's go, baby. Scoop him up.
All right. Next topic to catch you up on. Do you know who Williams Nwaneri is?
I don't know if I'm ready to stop talking about that because it's healing me.
What else do you have?
I have to keep telling myself there's no way that would happen. And I don't know if Sean Lewis has a dream job. You never know, right?
He's from that area of the country.
That's what worries me.
Yeah.
Is if there's anything that could swoop him away, it's Notre Dame head coach is my dream job. This gets me one step closer to that.
Right.
With that being said, Colorado, we're already writing checks, right?
Mm-hmm.
If we need to bump up his pay to keep him around, I think we can pull it off.
Yep, I think so too. I don't think he's leaving. I don't think this is hopefully this is the last time we talk about this. I'll say that.
Yeah. I would love. I don't know. I feel like it's unlikely for him to tweet it. I would love a bit in a well-off media video where Coach Prime says get out of here.
You think you can get what we got?
Yeah, exactly. You thought you was going to get what we got? No way. I need that. Coach probably do it for me.
All right. Next topic. Williams Nwaneri. Do you know who this is?
I do not. I'm excited to find out who.
Williams Nwaneri is a 5-star 2024 defensive lineman. He is 6'5", 245 pounds. We watched his tape last week. It is another man against boys.
Where's he from?
He is from Lee's Summit North High School in Missouri.
That is where Drew Lock went.
Oh, really? Interesting. Yeah. Okay.
Fun fact.
The uniforms look pretty solid.
Yeah, for sure.
Anyways, this player, according to the 247 Sports Composite, is the 17th overall player in this year's class now, I guess, and the 3rd defensive lineman. The reason I'm telling you this is he's visiting for the spring game.
Let's go.
Is it a wrap?
It may be. I'm too new to the situation. You said 6'5", 245?
Yes.
Interesting.
He lines up all over the place.
I was going to say.
One to edge, the whole line.
As of now, not having seen his build, sounds like an edge.
I think so.
But I guess if you get up to 275, which probably isn't too hard for a 17-year-old,
right?
Then you start talking about playing on the interior.
Yep, he's got 31 other offers. I think he's also visiting Oklahoma a few weeks before that. But he is going to be there for the spring game. Also on topic of the spring game, tickets went out today for the general public. I think they're all gone now.
Is that true?
That's what the comments have been saying.
I don't think that could be true.
I don't think so. No?
Yeah.
Well, there you go. Anyways, it's been crazy. I've seen a lot of posts about it.
It has been crazy. I was actually offered tickets, and normally I would just be like, yeah, it's fine, I can get my own. And I was like, I'll just take the guaranteed tickets here.
Yeah. So yeah, the spring game is going crazy. There's going to be.
We're talking about the spring game, bro.
Yeah, it's wild.
We talk about practice.
Yeah. I posted a tweet yesterday at halftime of the Super Bowl, like, damn, SMH, last half of football for 7 months. And people were adding me, spring game, bro.
I love that. I love that. Yeah. I can't wait to see what they do with it because, I feel like they have to make it a spectacle at this point.
Oh, yeah.
I'm not kidding you. I've seen spring games where they didn't actually play one snap of actual football.
Mm-hmm.
And it was actually because this is so sad. They didn't have enough guys.
Oh, yikes.
They graduated too many. They didn't bring in enough recruits, and then they had several injuries.
Mm-hmm.
And so they were I think it was Embry. It was just we can't play football. We don't even have a starting offensive line right now.
How the times have changed, huh?
Yes.
Next one. Do you know anything about this Antoine Jackson situation? Do you know who that is?
Nope.
Antoine Jackson was a 2023 4-star safety, I believe.
The Miami kid?
This is the Miami kid.
I do know a little bit about it.
Yes. So he asked out of his NLI, National Letter of Intent, for those that are wondering, not name, image, likeness. But he wants out.
It's very confusing. We should have just said likeness, image, and name.
Yeah.
Just save us all the confusion.
I know. We need to work on that for sure. They just need to make a name for it.
Right.
Just like a sponsorship or something.
Yes. He asked out of his National Letter of Intent, which is what you sign on signing day.
Yep. I've heard he wanted to play with Cormani McLean.
Okay.
We don't really know what the situation is. I think he's still technically signed. I haven't seen an update on this. But he's a 4-star player. Cornerback safety, of course. 241st player overall, 16th safety in the nation. He coming?
He's definitely coming. Let me ask you this, Jake. Why not just transfer? I guess because that burns one of your transfers?
I think so.
Because that's what I was curious about is why are these guys asking to be released?
Yeah.
And honestly, if you're Miami, what would you be doing to say no? You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
You're nope, if you're going to leave, you're going to have to use one of your transfers.
Yeah.
Why?
I don't know. It seems like such a weird situation, though.
It does, but with Florida, Jaden Rashada asked out. They said, okay, sorry. Right. We couldn't pay you what we said we could.
Well, that was outrageous. Did you see the breakdown of that came out? No. It's pretty wild. It was I don't know, a ton of money as a senior. Like, it was kind of incentivizing him to stay all 4 years.
Like a vesting schedule.
Yeah.
That's funny. So I don't understand why they would. You'd just be being dicks to try and not release him. But couldn't he just transfer at the first opportunity when the portal opens?
That's an interesting question. So that would be May when the portal opens again.
Yep.
I don't know. Would that mean he'd be still eligible for immediate play though? That might be the issue.
But you don't have to sit anymore on transfers.
I don't know, man.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting.
People have asked. So his primary recruiter at Alabama was not Charles Kelly. It was Travaris Robinson.
Okay.
So we'll see. On3 had a whole article about it last week, but I haven't seen any updates from this. So I don't know. He signed it on early signing day too. This wasn't a thing like 2 weeks ago that like popped up. Like, he signed in December.
Something tells me Cormani's doing some back channeling.
Yeah,
which is legal.
possibly.
Players are allowed to do that.
They are. So there you go. I think you're all caught up with the major storylines. From the weekend, though, Kylan Fox released the top 15. Colorado's in it.
Yay.
I know. It's quite
top
a lot.
15 is too much for me.
Well, and we're a whole year out, too. So it's tough to actually gauge where we're at. I want to pull it up, but, I mean, top 15. It's like every school.
That's what I mean. I saw the graphic. I did, you always have to overanalyze, internet sleuth, all that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I did like that Colorado's was at the top of the graphic.
Yep.
Right below FSU, I think.
Well, have you seen any of his socials from the last week?
No.
He was liking a lot of Colorado stuff. A lot.
Let's go.
So, what happened? Someone committed. Oh, it was Juwan Johnson. Juwan Johnson committed, and Tim Brewster tweeted out, "You next?" ? Hashtag you next ? Hashtag play for prime. Probably a subtweet at Kylan Fox.
I thought so.
Kylan Fox liked it.
Interesting, man.
Yes.
You never know with these guys. Like I said, anyone just wants to ride the Colorado wave because it's so insane right now.
Mm-hmm.
But it feels like he especially has been, him and our guy, Brandon Baker,
Yep.
have been very into it.
Mm-hmm. Both have been quiet, though.
Anything new? Yeah, I was going to say anything new on
Nothing on Baker.
Bakes.
Yep.
Already got a nickname for him.
There you go.
It's got to come.
There's a lot of guys coming back for the spring game, though.
Okay.
And if you guys are subscribed to Buff Stampede, Adam's been putting out a lot of guys who are still planning visits.
Subscribe to
Between
Buff
now and
Stampede.
then.
That's our weekly PSA.
Yep, there you go.
It's worth it.
What else do we got today? While I'm looking, guys, get your questions and hit that thumbs up button. But we have a 4-star transfer.
80. Whoa.
Yeah.
82 thumbs up. What is going on here? I feel like I should have 82 thumbs up just for being back.
You would think.
Then the show should be worth another 200.
We got 200 with Nikki on Friday.
Let's go.
Yeah, let's get those pumped up a bit.
Come on, guys.
Hit that like button, guys. There you go, 85.
All right, let's crank it up.
Elov says Ryan Wingo has been commenting on Shador Sanders' page, if that means anything.
Everything means something.
At least a little bit, right? Anyways, Des Moines Kennedy got his transfer rating.
Okay.
4 stars.
Let's go.
Yep.
Put some respect on him.
So that brings CU.
Ooh.
Oh, I just had
We
it.
might have to redo the I feel like wow, I'm blanking. I feel like he's been my guy.
Des Moines?
Yes.
Yeah.
I want to say Kanoy so bad because of the former Bronco. I feel like Des Moines has been my guy. Like, I want to redo the my guy draft and get him on my team.
We can do it. That brings CU up to 4 4-star transfers coming in. I don't know the rest. I haven't looked. Of course, the 1 5-star is Travis Hunter.
The only 5-star in the country transfer.
The only. CU and Arizona State just kind of blow everyone else out of the water in terms of numbers committed from the transfer portal this year. So that's where we lie there.
Interesting with Arizona State. Dude, Kenny Dillingham
Yeah.
was on our set at Radio Row.
Yeah.
I can't believe that is a head coach in college football.
Why?
He has no head coach vibes. He has all recruiting coordinator vibes. He's 32.
He is.
He's
really
basically
young.
my age.
Yep.
He's sitting on the set, and I was like, you could tell me this is anyone from ASU, and I would believe you. Like, you could tell me it was like like a transfer who like went to the military and didn't use any of his
just an older player.
Yeah, like an older player. You could have told me he's the recruiting coordinator. You could have told me he honestly I would like anything above that I wouldn't have. Maybe like safeties coach.
Mm-hmm.
It is so weird that he's the head coach. Now that being said, clearly has great energy. I can see how like recruits would like him.
Right.
But it is absolutely wild that man who sort of feels like a kid is going to be the head coach on the sidelines for them.
Mm-hmm. Got at least 27 players through the portal, though.
I know. That's what I mean. Like, I kind of get it.
Yeah.
And, like, obviously, you like I understand this, right? When you're, like, 17 or 18 and you talk to a 30-year-old,
Mm-hmm.
they feel like someone you can actually talk to, whereas,
Right.
like, a 50-year-old feels like an adult.
Yeah.
But I'm telling you, dude, zero head coach vibes.
Ooh.
Like, all I did was see coaches everywhere this week.
Yeah.
Definitely last in the rankings of seems like a head coach.
That's hilarious.
Super weird.
We're going to get the PHNX guys talking about this now.
Oh, yeah, that's fine. They talk about us all the time.
They do. I kind of ratioed them on Twitter the other
Let's
day.
go. Let's go. You can't beat us in internet competitions.
Not right now. Elov, have you heard of Caleb Ducking yet?
Who? What?
Okay. Here's another one. Caleb Ducking entered the transfer portal. Wide receiver from Mississippi State.
I thought he was talking about Caleb Williams ducking the Buffs.
No. 6'5", 200.
Okay, wait. Tell me, a wide receiver?
Wide receiver, Mississippi State, entered the portal, 6'5", 200.
Oh, we need him.
46 receptions, 477 yards, 8 touchdowns last year.
8 tuds.
He tweeted out, he's since deleted it, but he tweeted when he announced that he was entering the portal, I heard Coach Prime ain't hard to find.
Oh, why did you delete that?
I don't know.
Oh, that's so great. Dang. Let's go.
So we'll see. We've talked about how they really want a big wide receiver.
They've desperately.
Yep.
They've been after them all. And that one might be the best. 8 touchdowns in the SEC?
Mm-hmm.
That might be the best big guy yet.
Yep.
Other than, we did love that one guy.
Tesla?
The catch guy, yeah.
Yeah, he was nasty.
He's so nasty. 8 touchdowns in the SEC is no joke, though.
Yep.
So sign me. Although he might have had like 4 against Southwestern something state.
Well, let's find out right now. I'll be honest, I didn't know his name before
Me either.
hearing about it.
I kind of want a guy named Ducking, like mossing the Ducks.
1 touchdown against Auburn, 1 against Arkansas, 1 against A&M, 2 against Bowling Green, 2 against Arizona, 1 against Memphis. So
Can get 2 against Arizona here.
there we go. All right. Before we get to questions, guys, shout out to our friends.
I wasn't laughing. Jim says, RK, you laugh, but Sacramento State had a 29-year-old receiver. He was in the military and came back to play ball. No, I was being totally serious.
Isn't there like a 30-some-year-old punter
Yes.
playing somewhere?
Yes. I think it was Arizona State.
Was it Arizona State?
Yeah. Then you have the kid at Oregon who's like in his 8th year of eligibility.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
So that's what I mean. Like, Dillingham, you could have told me that's who he was.
Right. I can't wait for that game. It's going to be so much
It's so
fun.
sad that we don't get it week 0.
I know.
Especially like we were down there at Illegal Pete's on Mill.
Yeah.
And, met some Buffs fans down there.
Hell yeah.
But I was just thinking like this is where we could be doing our show on like Friday night before the game. It's kind of heartbreaking.
How was Buff Nation representing out in Phoenix for the Super Bowl?
And we're everywhere.
Yeah?
We're just everywhere. The big thing is like Buffs on Media Row. There's just so many.
Yeah.
Whether it's people in the media, Coach Prime obviously coming through, Eric Bieniemy.
Yep.
Then you have like Solomon Wilcots and
Right.
Alfred Williams. And Chad Brown was there, and it's just like, man, we're kind of everywhere.
Yep. No Joe Klatt?
No Joel Klatt. I would have sold out to try to get a Joel Klatt interview.
Yeah. We'll get it at some point. Anyway, shout out to our friends at Breckenridge Brewery. I was relying on Breckenridge Brewery a lot to make me feel better yesterday after whatever I witnessed on the television for the Super Bowl.
Don't get me started.
We're not going to speak about it. Anyways, Breckenridge Brewery has a beer for any occasion. You can try out the Mile High City Golden Ale, new beer, which is delicious. The Avalanche Amber right in front of us there. Some say the best amber ale on the market right now. You can check out their beer locator at www.breckbrew.com to find a brew near you. And then shout out to DraftKings Sportsbook. Football season is over, but the action still continues at DraftKings Sportsbook. Tons of NBA no-sweat SGPs and free bets from that. MLB starting up. You a big MLB better?
Nope.
No? But Stanley Cup season and NBA final season coming up.
I'm in for that. I've turned into a big soccer guy now.
Yep, of course.
So that heats up in the summer as well.
Were you able to keep tabs on your Leeds guys the last week?
Sadly, they drew Man United, which was like a great result for us. While I was on a show, so I didn't get to see it. They were up 2-0 and kind of blew it, so that would have been tough. And then I woke up at 7 a.m. yesterday to watch them. They lost that too.
So committed.
I am
absolutely love it.
I'm all or nothing kind of guy.
I love it. F1's starting up. I'm hyped about that.
There you go.
Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now. Use code DNVR. New customers can bet $5 and get $200 in bonus bets instantly. Only at DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NBA with code DNVR. Minimum age and eligibility restrictions apply. See show notes for details. Gambling problem, call 1-800-522-4700. Spencer.
You're wearing? Oh, go ahead.
Won $450 of DraftKings free bets. Did you see that?
No.
Yeah. So he was at the Waste Management Open in Phoenix also.
Yep.
He hit a putt and got a...
Oh, I did. I heard about that. They didn't record that?
There's a video.
Oh, there's
of
a video.
Yeah.
Okay. I didn't see it. They just told me about it.
Yep.
David in the comments here says, Jake, love the Metallica shirt in your LinkedIn profile. You're wearing a Metallica shirt in your LinkedIn profile?
It's whatever my my Twitter profile is with the Heisman Trophy. I was wearing my Master of Puppets shirt that day.
So professional.
I try.
We don't even get No Hat Jake on the LinkedIn profile.
No. God, no. Maybe I'll throw up... Marissa made me take a screenshot of No Hat Jake from our breakdown video.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That's impressive.
Yeah. Anyways, we can stop talking
I hope
about
that you never need your LinkedIn profile again.
I hope so too. Thank you. I actually stopped using it. It's kind of useless.
Yeah. I'm obviously very fortunate in this world, but we started this company 2 weeks before I graduated college. So I've never used, like, the last time I had a job interview, it was like to work at Mod Market. Mm-hmm. And I got fired 2 weeks later.
Yikes.
I did get the job, though.
There you go.
They did so we thought we needed more, but now other people aren't getting as many hours as they wanted. It's really not you.
It's like, not you, it's me.
It's like, all right, see, I can take off this stupid hat now.
Yeah, haven't touched my LinkedIn in a few years. I actually did sign in not too long ago, so maybe that's why it's updated. Anyways, let's talk to the people.
Let's do it.
What is going on?
They turned on the sound on the TVs. It's so
that's
loud.
Tony Kornheiser. All right, first question.
I'm hoping they turn that down. If not, we might have to ask.
Okay. From Billy Laser, think it's possible for CU to play for a natty once USC and UCLA leave?
Yes. I mean, we've talked about it, and it's the Joel Klatt take. As soon as those guys leave, and really even if they didn't leave, Colorado should be competing for a Pac-12 championship.
For sure.
If you win the Pac-12 championship, you're getting into the 12-team playoff. If you're in the 12-team playoff, that means you're competing for a national championship.
Yep.
Now, can you imagine, like, previewing a playoff game?
God.
In like a real playoff game, not like a semifinal. You know what I mean?
They're like going up against, like, I don't know, Tennessee, Penn State, Michigan. Like, it would be amazing.
It would be.
Next one, Alyssa. From Angela. Jake and Arcade, do you see a bidding war for CU coming between the Big 10, Big 12, and maybe the SEC?
Wouldn't that be a turn of the tables?
So... to go off this question, do you think the SEC would ever go like, you know what, let's try and go coast to coast like the Big Ten and be more aggressive for some of these Pac-12 schools? What if they're the ones that try and get the Oregon, the Washington, the Colorado, and the Utah?
I wonder what – I just don't think so.
No?
The SEC is – they don't need help, if you know what I mean.
Right.
Like, they're always going to be the conference. They're always going to have Alabama. They're always going to have – Georgia, these powerhouses. And so I just, like, for them, I don't think they got Texas and Oklahoma.
Yep.
Those are the kings of the South, right? That were out of the SEC. So they have every school in the South that matters,
Yeah.
I think, unless I'm forgetting about one.
Clemson.
Okay. Like, if they're going to get
Florida
anyone,
State,
it
yeah.
would be Clemson. It would be Florida State. They're going to stay in the South because the South is football.
Yeah.
You know, they don't need to kind of dilute having that Southern pride
Right.
by going and getting anyone else.
The big wrench in that, though, is the ACC and their outrageous media deal. That runs to like 2036 or something.
Yeah.
Like,
It could make it tough for sure. But I just think if they wanted them, they could get Florida State and Clemson and just be done with it.
yeah.
Because what do they have now? How many teams do they have with Texas and Oklahoma?
I think that puts them up to 16. I think they're at 14 right now.
They might just be done.
Yeah. Well, that's what the Big Ten, after they got USC, UCLA, they're like, yeah, we're not trying to look to expand anymore.
Yep.
Because they're, I think, at 16 also.
Yep.
Big 12's at 16, or should be, or they'll be at 14, I guess, after OU and Texas leave.
Okay.
VHF, since Cam Ward came from the FCS to the FBS and did very well, do you think Shador Sanders can do similar? I think he's
Better.
that for sure, but he's the comparison.
Yeah.
Like, you saw what Cam Ward did at Incarnate Ward, came into the Pac-12, was still doing some pretty awesome things. I mean, granted, he's still kind of figuring it out, and he didn't have some best
He was on a
best
worse
games.
team.
For sure.
You know, like, he came in and was kind of asked to lead a Washington State team, which Washington State is kind of rudderless.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like, at least when they had Coach Leach, they had an identity.
Right.
What's their identity now? I don't really know what it is, but he was impressive, and I think Shador will do that and better.
Yeah. Yeah, Washington State just really in a weird situation the last 2 years, too, with the coach and the vaccine stuff and all that. Just
Oh, yeah.
I don't know. They seem like a school, like maybe Oregon State, too. Maybe in trouble a lot more so than Colorado, Utah, and the other Pac-12 schools, because that seems like they're on a fast trip to the Mountain West.
Yeah, it's true.
Next question. Friddle, sorry.
Fritty?
Do you think the spring game will impact the television deal and recruiting for May? They need to try and have a deal by then. If we're still talking about this in April and May, man, then the Pac-12 is probably done after this year.
I kind of agree. Spring game will impact recruiting, definitely.
Yeah.
I'm so interested to see what this is.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I know Coach Prime isn't going to let this be a normal event.
Mm-hmm.
So, is there a concert?
Right.
Which, by the way, concerts at Folsom Field, the best. Only thing we've gotten in the last few years is Dead and Company, which is still sick. Like, you see John Mayer shredding with the Grateful Dead. But, like, you know, put a hip-hop show on after the spring game or something like that. Just something to build the hype. It's not just going to be normal.
No.
That's all I know.
No.
Is there a flyover? Like,
Right.
could be anything.
Absolutely. I can't wait. Maybe a uniform revealing? That'd be
Maybe.
tight. Big Teasy with the question. Prime
Likes.
quarterbacks that are former players' kids. You know of any in the pipeline?
Could have had Owen McCown.
Could have had Owen McCown. Arch, of course, went to Texas.
Let me ask you this. Over-under on 0.5 transfers from Arch Manning.
I say under.
You say he stays at Texas, is successful.
I think, if anything, Quinn Ewers is out.
Okay. I'll take him.
Quinn Ewers got rid of the mullet, too.
Yes. Didn't he do something problematic? I think he did.
I don't know.
Anyways, I think that Arch transfers once. Maybe it's
Really?
Colorado.
Huh. We'll see. You got to get Peyton on campus to.
The problem is, I think he's overrated, and it's not his fault.
Yeah.
But what's going to happen is Texas fans are going to expect him to lead them to a national championship, and I don't think he's that good.
Yeah.
I think he's very good, but then I think he's going to want a fresh start somewhere where he doesn't have to be number one recruit in the country.
Right.
Level expectations.
Right. I don't know. It's tough to say. Someone said Cole Leinert. So Matt Leinert's son, I guess.
He's coming.
They're all coming. I don't know. It's tough when they're in high school. I feel like you don't really learn about these guys till their senior year of high school or when they're in college. So, go ahead, Alyssa. Arcade, do you have any good food while down in AZ? Tell us about the food.
I am very low on food in Arizona.
Wow.
For a place so close to Mexico,
Yeah.
they should have much better Mexican food. That being said, I did have some great tacos there at a place called Taco Boys.
Yes, Taco Boys is fire, bro.
You know Taco Boys?
Yeah, my brother lived in Phoenix for about a year.
okay.
And
Taco
he would always
Boys
tell me, yeah.
Is fire.
Yeah.
If it was up to me, I would eat there 2 meals a day the entire time I was in Arizona. Like, I could just eat tacos all the time.
Yeah.
Damn, tacos sound good right now. So those were fire. The media Super Bowl party also had some really good tacos. And so they had like a taco stand with brisket tacos. And then they had people making freshly made tortillas next to them, but they were separate from the tacos. So then I just took the taco, put it in the freshly made tortilla.
You're doing it right.
That was fire.
Hell yeah. Whataburger's also out there. I'd definitely be hitting that up.
And then I also had very good sushi, which like anyone who lives in a coastal area will be like, no way you had good sushi in Arizona. I did. I don't know.
There you go. Nicholas asks, will there be 2 scrimmages?
Spring scrimmages?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't think we can say what to expect anything at this point.
So true.
Who knows? We'll let you know as soon as we find out more information about the spring game. I'll tell you that. Jamel, what's up, man? For RK, 2 questions from last week. Number 1, what are the do's and don'ts as a new Buffs fan? And 2, where do we get flannel lumberjack shirts with CU colors?
Do's and don'ts as a Buffs fan. We've talked about this a couple times, I feel like. Number 1, well, not number 1, but I talked about this and I still see people doing this, like new people that are new to Colorado making like content, like saying Colorado Buffs.
Yep.
It's Colorado Buffaloes or CU Buffs. It's also not CU Buffaloes. That sounds weird. Not as weird. So go Colorado Buffaloes, CU Buffs if you're shortening it. Other big don'ts are anything that is base color of red.
What about green?
Can't be wearing red. Green is... They're so irrelevant that it just doesn't really matter.
Can I tell you something that's funny? So last week...
I'll tell you something that's funny.
Okay, go ahead.
I had someone coming after me for wearing my
Yes,
Eagles
I saw this.
Kelly Green.
I saw this.
So I rocked an Eagles Kelly Green jacket on Radio Row in support of anyone but the Chiefs. But also, Allie's an Eagles fan, so I support them. And I had people coming after me, like, those are CSU colors, which, like, no, they're not. It's Kelly Green 1 and white.
Yeah.
Not whatever they're, like, forest green and gold is.
Right.
That would, if it was green and gold, you would have had a case.
So last week, realignment was a huge topic, and I put out a few tweets, a couple polls.
Okay.
And I put out a poll. I was like, if you could only add 1 school to the Pac-12, which would it be? And I had SMU, SDSU. I had, God, who else did I have? Just schools like that.
Okay.
I left out CSU. Justin comments
Oh.
on my thing, and in came this wave.
Oh, boy.
People just eye rolling. It's like, I wasn't even considering CSU.
No, you have no case.
No.
No case. Oh, there's so... Little brother syndrome is
It's
a
bad.
bad thing.
It's
dude.
bad.
It's so bad. It's just... I don't know. They want to be... Like, I myself have an older sister. And I remember when I was like 10 and she was 15, just wanting to be included. You know, she'd have her friends over. I'm like, can I come? She's like, no.
Yeah.
That's what CSU is like.
Yeah.
Can I come? No. Never. You can never come.
Damn. I love Justin, but
I'm trying to think of more do's and don'ts as a Buffs fan. I have to sit down and like write them down.
we need to like make a whole segment for that.
Yeah. I just need more time to like think about it, and I also have to like see things and be like, oh right, that.
Right.
Don't do that.
Yep. We'll think about it. Sean, what's up? Asking, y'all see that Rivals bumped Edric Houston, Kylan Fox's teammate, to a 5-star? I did not.
Edric Houston, that is a name.
I'm assuming from Grayson High School also?
Yeah.
Let's see. 247 has him as a 5-star composite.
Oh, what position?
Defensive line. 6'3", 255.
We need dogs. We need dogs on the defensive line.
Considered the number 1 DL over Williams Nwaneri.
In the country?
In this class, yeah.
Holy smokes.
Yeah.
Let's get them both.
He's from Buford High School, not Grayson, though.
Well, that's not great. That's kind of close to where we are.
Next question, Lawrence. I've been seeing Tyron Taylor post some videos working out with some of the DBs that were on the team pre-Coach Prime. Is he or any of the DBs from last year's team decent enough to start? Yeah, I've seen that video too. Haven't watched it. Nico Reed's on the thumbnail, and I'd say he's the most. Him and Trevor Woods.
Yeah. Nico Reed, Trevor Woods, both will be in the mix.
Yep, for sure.
And we are still getting flack for our
Shiloh.
respect of Trevor Woods.
Yeah.
It's not about Shiloh. It's about Trevor.
That's true.
And I also love Shiloh.
He's not even on the roster yet, though. Can we at least cut a break for that?
That is true. We should get cut a break. Although, we'll take our break.
Next question. Ryan asking question for the boys. A couple weeks ago, I referenced a YouTube working list of games for Jake to watch. Offseason is here. I submit 6236 as the first one, Jake. I hope you enjoy line play. I do enjoy line play.
Oh, bro, you are going to see a Nebraska defensive line. Nebraska's ranked number 1 in the country. Just get mauled. Literally embarrassed at every level by a CU offensive line that was badass. You know, Andre Gerard is on that offensive line, multiple NFL guys. But it's just a thing to behold, just watching those guys. I mean, you or I could have run for 200 in that game.
Yeah.
Like, they're just Chris Brown is going through some of the biggest holes you will ever see.
I'll watch it this week.
And Musburger is on the call. I can't remember with who. And he's just like beside himself at what the CU offensive line is doing.
I'll watch it this week. Maybe we'll turn that into a segment.
I almost want to watch with you just to see your reaction.
H family, how is CU's relationship with Eric Bieniemy? Do you think he will make a guest appearance at the spring game this year?
Well, you saw the video I did with him. He was clearly excited for the Buffs.
Right.
I think the relationship is good. It's a complicated one.
Yeah.
Obviously, I've talked about it before, but got in some trouble on campus. Then when he was a coach, it's crazy to think that like he's now a 2-time Super Bowl winning offensive coordinator, because when he was the offensive coordinator of the Buffs almost within this decade, it was just an outright disaster. And a lot of that had to do with the players. Like, they just didn't have guys.
Right.
They're starting a transfer quarterback from Kansas who was a backup at Kansas. You know what I mean? Like, things were dark, and they had no guys. And even after they recruited a little bit, they still had so much. They were just dealt an empty cupboard. So that's part of it. But he's still in that fraternity of national champions. Like him and Darian Hagan and like all these guys. They're still a part of it, and he was genuinely excited. Like, just watching him talk about it. Yeah. I was hyped that he immediately like recognized me and wanted to talk Buffs. So I'm rooting for him. He is going to get an opportunity to go be the offensive coordinator somewhere else, which I think is what he needs. I think everyone just gives all the credit for anything he's done to Andy Reid or Patrick Mahomes.
Right.
He needs to get a fresh start somewhere. I hope he goes somewhere where there's guys. Like, he was mentioned in the Ravens opportunity. Like, I hope he gets that.
That'd be huge.
Because then he has an opportunity to be creative with elite talent, rather than, like, I saw him mentioned with the Commanders, and I'm just like, it doesn't matter who you put there, they're probably going to fail.
Yeah. Does Mike McDaniel give you head coach vibes?
He definitely would not have. But I was one of the first people on the Mike McDaniel train.
Yeah?
Not because of any unearthing that I did. I got a text from someone who worked with him and said the Broncos should be in on Mike McDaniel. He's the smartest person I've ever met in football outside of Kyle Shanahan.
Wow.
And so I was like, all right, I got to look into this guy. And I started looking into him, and I was like, I think the Broncos should hire him. This was last year. But you're right. Not a head coach vibes guy.
Sean Payton head coach vibes.
Big head coach vibes.
Love that. Hell yeah. Big Teasy with the super chat. Do you think CU joining the SEC keeps Coach Prime from moving? Okay, let's expand this a bit. Do you think Coach Prime, dependent on where CU ends up in this realignment phase, is dependent on how long Coach Prime stays here? Or
potentially. I think it's a few things. Does he ever have an issue getting recruits? Which right now it doesn't seem like the answer is yes.
Right.
So if he feels like he can get anyone in the country to come to Colorado, That's checking off one box.
Mm-hmm.
2 is, can Colorado continue to up the dollars, right?
Mm-hmm.
You know, he says it's not about the money, and I actually truly believe him. But you have to be able to be in the arena.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? When I don't want to use Florida State. Who's the school that
Alabama, if Nick Saban retires.
that one's also too
No?
much?
Oh, okay.
Just like a regular SEC school. Let's say when Mississippi State
Okay.
comes calling and they're willing to double his salary.
Mm-hmm.
Can you get in the? Are you able to stay in the arena? Are you able to stay in the ballpark and say, "Hey, we can do that too," or we can get close with this incentive or that incentive? That's going to be important. And then the third one is just, are you relevant?
Mm-hmm.
Because as long as the Pac-12 is around and you have a chance to win it, then you get to stay relevant.
Right.
But if something were to happen where the Pac-12 falls apart and the Buffs are scrambling to try to jump into an irrelevant conference, that's where I think, okay, well, now he's going to leave to go take another, even if it's a lateral move to a school that's in the game at one of those bigger conferences. I think that plays a role. But I believe there's a world where they win here, go to the Big Ten, and nothing stops Coach Prime from staying for a long, long time.
I think you're right. I think that's more realistic than him bouncing after 2 years, to be completely honest.
Yeah. I mean, I don't think he does this stuff to get here and leave.
No.
And, like, I think the love for Colorado that he's built is real.
Mm-hmm.
And I think as long as the Buffs don't screw anything up with him, he'll be here a long time.
He hasn't even been here for summer yet.
Yeah.
He's going to love it.
Oh, summer in Boulder, like, I've become a Denver guy.
Right.
And I love summer in Denver too, but summer in Boulder is elite. Especially because, not that there's anything wrong with the students being there. The students all leaves, and then it's like there's no traffic and there's no like lines anywhere. Oh, it's elite.
He'll love it. Sean with the super chat. What's up with the DNVR spring tailgate? Hashtag I'm coming. Sean's coming.
We're going to make it happen. We're going to make something happen. It is, let me tell you a little something about DNVR. It is February.
Yeah.
That is in April.
Yep.
We never work that far ahead because we've always got something this week that has like all of our focus.
Right.
So we'll obviously plan more ahead than this week, but we got some time.
You know where to find all the details when they come out. I got a Twitter question just real quick to wrap this up. I was asked by B. Gordon, can CU be legit to recruits wanting exposure without being on network television?
Wait, what was it?
So can CU be legit for recruits wanting exposure without being on network television? Talking about the media deal. If they get a streaming partner for the Pac-12 as opposed to a TV deal, do you think that play into the minds of recruits?
I don't think so.
I don't think so either.
I think it actually makes you more accessible for your family,
For sure.
which is what really matters to these kids.
Yeah.
Obviously, everyone wants to play on national TV. Colorado is going to play on national TV.
Oh, yeah.
But, you know, if the Pac-12 does a deal with Apple TV, that makes it super easy for mom and grandma and, you know, uncle to watch the games. Rather than, which cable thing do we have to get? And what package do we have to buy?
Or if you live in the Northeast or the Southeast, like, I can't get the Buffs game this weekend.
Yep.
You won't have to deal with that.
We just had another question in there. I think it was from Lawrence up there. There it is. RK, can you explain why you weren't able to get Coach Prime or staff while they were on Radio Row? I tried. They said he was too busy. You know, I talked to his people, and they said, okay, maybe we'll try to get something in between. I was like, cool, I'll be ready. And I actually talked to Bucky and Darius, and I was like, let's do a quick little thing on the side. Let me go grab our camera guy. When I went to go do it, I came back. They were busy, and I was like, okay, I'll get them after this. Well, they went straight into like this like green room where media wasn't allowed, and then I never saw them again. Yeah. So that one I actually thought we were able to get. But that one didn't work out either. We've obviously talked to them about coming down here. I think that's still in the cards. I think that'll end up happening, which I'm super excited for. But
Dope.
I was told immediately Coach Prime's completely booked. So maybe we can squeeze something in. And then when I tried that, I was told no.
Just watching YouTube from last week, everyone that was there wanted to talk to Coach Prime.
Of course.
So,
yeah, and like I don't know. I try not to be like too self-important about it. You know, it's like, hey, like you said, everyone in the world wants to talk to Coach Prime. Yes, we're a little different in the sense that we talk about Coach Prime every single day, whereas everyone else, comes and goes. But it's a little different at the Super Bowl. It's not as if we were in Denver.
Yeah, he was Deion Sanders at the Super Bowl. He wasn't Coach Prime there.
And I have to tell you, I tweeted about this a little bit. The admiration that exists for Coach Prime is unmatched. I think if Peyton Manning or those type of people walked in, it would be similar. Mm-hmm. But when I tell you, I'm trying to think of some of the players who were there. Some of the greatest players in NFL history are walking around, and they're just a guy. Mm-hmm. People are wanting to talk to him, but there's not like a mob.
Right.
With Coach Prime, every person in that building wanted to say hi to Coach Prime, and the biggest one was the former players, like the young former players.
Pac-Man, B-Marsh, yeah.
Exactly. Those guys are just beside themselves talking to Coach Prime. It is crazy the way that the weight that he carries when he walks into a room full of famous people. Mm-hmm. To be the one that turns heads is just crazy. And the whole time I'm just thinking, dude, this guy's the coach of Colorado. How did we get this lucky?
It's wild, man. Chris with the super chat. The best part of Coach Prime loving Colorado already is he hasn't been here for the best part. Imagine when he and these Florida recruits enjoy summer with no humidity. Absolutely.
That's what just blows everything out of the water. Mm-hmm. They're learning about the cold with no humidity right now, which is lovely because it's not that cold. When you hit the summer with no humidity, it'll be I'll just put it this way. It's usually hottest here between 1 and 3 p.m. Mm-hmm. If I see it's 95 degrees, I would still book a tea time between 1 and 3 p.m. without even thinking twice about it. 95 here is hot, but not oh man, you're gonna be sweating through your clothes and you can't be outside for. It is unbelievable. The summers out here, and they have been getting hotter in recent years, and it's still just all it takes is one trip. I make visits to Washington, D.C. with Allie, and that's where her family's at. And it's just oh, my God. Yeah. How do these people do this every day?
Well, especially here. If it's 95 degrees and even you have the slightest of breezes, you're set.
Completely.
All right. There it is. Welcome back, man.
We cleared 200.
We cleared 200.
It's great to be back. Great to talk Buffs. Thank you for catching me up.
I got you.
Appreciate you guys for hanging out with us in the comments. Feels good.
See you guys tomorrow. Same time, same place. Go Buffs.
Let's go Buffs.